Right. So we welcome you to today's conversation in financial accounting, where we need to continue with the partnerships series, the series of partnerships accounting series, partnership accounting series. That is what we are supposed to do. So last time we looked at the profit and loss account for the partnership. It is necessary and important that we look at the appropriation account for partnership. So you see, it is very important to understand that after the net profit or the profit that you get from the profit and loss account has been gotten, there's some few adjustments that you have to make to that value of the net profit, such as adding on the interest on drawings, removing the interest on capital, removing the salaries that might be given to some partners. And what you have is residual profit, and from the residual profit that is what you share. So there are some of the adjustments, those that I'm talking about. How do you account for the interest on drawings? How do you account for the interest on capital? How do you account for the partner salaries? Those are some of the conversations that we have to look at. So those adjustments are purely done in the appropriation account. So let me show you now the appropriation account format. Appropriation account. So what is the format for the appropriation account? That is what we are supposed to look at. The format for the appropriation account. Okay, let's say that the units that you are using are the dollars. These are the dollars that you're using. Right, have the units for the dollars like that. So you always start the format. The format for the appropriation account always starts with the net profit. It may start with the net profit that you get from the profit and loss statement, or it can start with the profit of the year. Now, what could be the difference between the net profit and the profit of the year? The difference would be the net profit does not have the interest on loans subtracted, right? Whereas the profit of the year is gotten by subtracting the interest of the loan from the net profit. So you can start your format by saying, let's start from the net profit. In those cases where you have not already removed from the profit and loss statement, you have not removed the interest on loan. So let's say net profit. So from the net profit, you write your figure here, the value of the net profit, and to that net profit, you're going to less the interest on loan, if you have any interest on loan, less interest on what? On loan. So once you less the interest on loan, you're going to less your interest on loan, like that. So the interest on loan has been less. This is what you're going to have. So from the net profit, when you're coming up with the appropriation account, you're supposed to less the interest on loan. And once you less the interest on loan, you have the profit of the year. This is the profit of the year. So now, once you have the profit of the year, to this profit of the year, you'll be required to add, what are you adding? The interest on drawings. Okay, interest on drawing. This is just the format. The interest on drawings. And for the two partners that we have, let's say we have how many partners? Let's say we have partner A. So you add here the interest for partner A. Partner B, you will also add the interest, the interest on drawings for both partners. If there are 3, you keep on adding the name and then you add the interest right in the second column. Okay, you're going to subtract the interest. And then you also, after you have added all that, of course, you have to add that. We are adding that to what we have just gotten this figure. So add this, the value that you find is here, and then you add this. This is what we have. You add these two because you're adding. Once you have added, then you can less the what? The interest on capital. The interests on what? On capital. This is the format. The format is very important always. So less the interest on capital. Let's say we have 2 partners, partner A and B. So we are lessing their interests on capital. So these are the 2 interests that you're going to less. You less the interest for these, but you can still less the salaries. Less the salaries. Now, after you have less the interest for the interest on capital, you have to less the salaries. So depending on the number of participants in the partnership that you have, if you have maybe, let's say, only 2 partnerships, and they agreed that one of the partners will be receiving salary, okay, you include the salary of the partners. So you're going to less all that, less all the salaries of partners. Let's say partner A has a salary. So once you less all these figures, you are lessing them from where? You're going to less them from this value that you have found here. When you added, there is this value that you found when you added the, what's this? The interest on drawing to the profits of the year. There is this value. So you're going to less from that. And so that once you less that from that, you're going to have the residual profit, right? The residual profit. Now, this is the profit that should be shared, the residual profit. This is the profit now that is available to the partners to do what? To share. This is very important, and you need to get this. So sometimes you may find that the net profit, you may not have the net profit because you may not have the net profit because you would have already subtracted the interest on loan, okay? If you have already subtracted the interest on loan from the profit and loss statement, after finding the net profit, then you subtracted the interest on loan. It means that you're going to have the profit of the year. So your statement will be starting with profit of the year, right? Profit of the year, not with the net profit, profit of the year. Now, if you start with the profit of the year, this value here will be the profit of the year value. If you start with the profit of the year, then there'll be no need of writing the net profit and the interests and lessing the interest from what? From the interest on loan from net profit. So this part will not be there, okay? It will not be there once you have the profit of the year. I will repeat. I'm saying that when you are calculating the profit and loss statement, in the income statement, you end with the net profit, right? But there are those times when you decide to remove the interest on loan from the what? From the profit. Once you have accounted for the interest on loan already in the profit and loss statement, then you are supposed to write the last figures, the profit of the year. Once you start your appropriation account with the profit of the year, there will be no need of lessing the interest on loan again, because the profit of the year simply means net profit minus what? The interest on loan, right? So this is what is there. This format I'm giving you, I'm assuming that you have not subtracted the interest on loan in the what? In in the profit and loss statement or in the income statement. So this is where you just write your income statement, you end it on the net profit. If you end it on the net profit, please, you have to less the interest on loan, if at all there is any loan. But if there is no any loan, just less the interest on loan. If there is no interest on loan, there is no loan, then you just have to write the net profit. Then from the net profit, direct you add the interest on drawings. Add the interest on drawings for each partner, okay? Once you add to the net profit the interest on drawing for each partner, then you're going to, from that total, you shall less the interest on capital, and you less salaries if at all there are any salaries for those partners or for any of the partners. What you remain with is the residual profit. This is the profit that is available for sharing. Now, let me just clear the space on top so that we can continue with the statement or with the format, though it is ending soon. The format is ending very soon. So with you, if you are good and enough space, you can just continue writing. So the residual profit. The residual profit is here. You write it. I've just decided to write it again on top so that you can follow nicely. Once you have written down the residual profit now, it is the residual profit that needs to be shared among the partners, okay? So we have partner, let's say we have partner A, right? So partner A, let's say, how were they sharing the profit? They were sharing the profit maybe in the ratio of 2 to what? 2 to 3. If the statement will give us the information will be clear in the partnership on how they are sharing the profit, okay? Whether it will be in percentages, they will tell us. Whether it will be in ratios, for example, 2 to 3, they will tell us. In case they said 2 to 3. So you would have written that as 2 over 2 plus 3, that's 5. 2 over 5 for partner A times that residual profit. Okay, let me just write it as RP. The residual profit, this residual profit, this one I found here, that one will give you the value of what? That will give you the value of partner A, the amount of profit that partner A is supposed to receive. Partner B, it will be 3 over what? 3 over 5 multiplied by the same residual profit, this same residual profit that you have found here. And what you're going to have is this value for partner B. Now, when you add these shares that they have shared, okay, these two values are supposed to be equal, right? What you find here on total when you add this, it should equal the residual profit. So the residual profit should equal the sum of these two when you add these two. When you add the two, excuse me. So when you just add the two shares for the partners, they should equal the residual profit. And once you have that, then you are safe. That's where the appropriation account ends. It's just the format. This is the format for the appropriation account. Right. Are there any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay. Since there are no questions, then we can go back to our example that we had already last time. And lucky enough, last time we had already calculated from this statement that we had. We already had the net profit, okay? And the net profit was already, how much was it? That have been 78 something. Let me just check and confirm the net profit. Okay. All right. So we already have the net profit that we had for this question previously, and it is the 78,260. 78,260 for the same question. So we'll start from there. We'll start from the net profit. That's the same net profit you get from the profit and loss statement. So let's write our net profit. So our net profit is 78,260. 260. Right. Now, to this net profit, what did we say in the format? We're supposed to less the interest on loan, if at all there is any interest on loan. So I have to check whether we have the interest on loan, and that interest on loan was not less in the previous statement. Do we have any interest on loan? Any interest on loan? Let me check. There was no interest on loan, right? So including the additional information, we find that there was no interest on loan. So we won't subtract anything. So just the same value you have in the net profit, we'll go on to the next element, which is adding what? The interest on drawing. So add interest on drawings. Just go ahead and add the interest on drawings. So add interests. Interest on what? On drawing. Okay. So for the interest on drawing, how much was it? We have two partners. We have two partners. The partners that we have at Sakala and Mono. Sakala and Mono. Okay. So have to add that plus the current account on one of the account from plus the interest on current account to be added to. So for Sakala, how much was it? The interest on drawings. So we are told that Sakala, let's check for Sakala. How many? The interest on drawing, you've seen adjustment number H. Interest on drawing for the year is to be charged Sakala 720 and 560 for what? For Mono. 720 Sakala, 560 for Mono. So you have to do that. So it is 720 and 560 for Mono. You can also add, you have to add as well the interest on current account. So there is any interest on current account. So interest on current account, usually in this case, we have the interests on current account for Mono. For Mono. And that should be how much? Let's go back to the data set given. What was the interest on current account for Mono? Do we have the interest on current account? have a lot of data set given. All right. There is our calculator. The interest at 5% per year is allowed and charged on both the current, the capital, and the current account balances right at the beginning of the year. So 30,000 multiplied by 0.5 minus the same, the interest T. When you do your computations, that should give us 64 for the same. Then you add everything, you find 1340. And once you add the interest on drawings and the current account, you can less the interest on capital, less interest on capital, interest on capital. What could be the interest on capital? Interest on capital. Still the same. Interest on capital for Sakala. Let's go back and read the question. Is there any interests on their capital? Interest on capital. How much is the capital for Sakala? That is 2. Is that 100? 100,000 with 0.05. 0.05 is 5% plus percent of the same as the other one. That should give us how much the interest on capital for mono. Interest on capital for mono, it's the 5% of 100,000 is 5,000. It is 5 for mono. It is 5,000. Right. We have not yet added these two. We are supposed to add these two. 78,260 plus 1340 equals 79,600. 79,600. Then we less that interest on capital for mono 5,000, and then for who is this one? For Sakala. 200,000. It is 10,000. 200,000 times 5%. 5% of yes, of that amount. Okay, that's the interest on on capital account. So it's 200,000 times the 5% that have been given. That should give us 10,000. So 10,000, right? So that gives us, how much is that? So we have less the capital account. We are still lessing. We have not yet less the interest on current account for Sakala. The interest current account for Sakala. And how much is that? Interest for current account for Sakala. This for that times 0.05. 1, 2. Let's see. 1,000. So the interest on capital for Sakala is 200, right? 4,000 times the 5%. 4,000 times the 5% that we have been given in the question, that the interest at 5% per annum is allowed for both capital and current. So the 5% of 4,000 is 200. That is for is this one for Sakala? That's for Sakala. So Sakala is 200. Yeah. Still lessing that. So less for Sakala as well. Interesting on capital. So for Sakala as well, we should less. We are lessing 200. That's the interest on current account, CA for Sakala 2. And we have less already the interest on capital, then the interest on current account for Sakala. Then what has remained? We have to less salaries, right? Should less salaries now after lessing everything. Should less salaries. The less salaries. Interest current account. Less salaries. How many salaries are we lessing? Yes, lessing salaries for both of them. They had salaries. So both Mono and Sakala, they had salaries. According to the question that we have, their salaries are where? Where are the salaries? Let's look for their salaries. We'll find them. Okay. On top, the partners are entitled to annual salaries of Sakala 24,000, and who is this one? Mono 16,000. 24,000 and 16,000. Can just add those together as salaries already. So there is for 24,000, and the 16,000. Yes. So all this is what you are lessing from that. Interest on capital has been removed. Interest on current account for Sakala has been removed too. And once you remove all the deductions that you're supposed to do, then you can add all the figures. You can add all these figures to find only one value, right? You can just add, remove all the figures. Okay. So once you remove, you subtract everything. If you added all that, you would find, you just add all this, 24,000 plus 16,000 plus 15,000 plus 200, right? 55, 200, 55, 200, 55, 200. This to be subtracted from 79, 600. So say less 79, 600. Yes, that gives us 24, 400 as the residual profit. So I've ended on the residual profit, 24, 400. So the residual profit that you have, the residual profit being 24, 400. It is this profit that they should share, right? How are they going to share the profit? The partners are Sakala and Mon. How are they sharing the profit? So we go back to the question and we hear how they are sharing the profit. So this question says that, what does it say about sharing of the profit? Live business amounting to that. All the information is usually given in the question. Okay, just the first part, it says, Sakala and Mono are trading in partnership, sharing profits and losses equal. So they are supposed to share half, okay? Share half of the same residual profit, right? Share half of the residual profit, right? So you can get your value, say 1/2, which is half of 24, 400 plus 1/2 times 24, 400. Said when you add all this, let me try. So that's 24, 400 divided by 2, which is here 12, 200, even here 12, 200. When you add everything, 12, 200 plus 12, 200, again, should you find what? What should you find? The profit has been shared, right? This profit has gone to the shareholders. So once you subtract all that, all these from that profit, you should get 0. Or when you total up these, you should get the value that is equal to the residual profit. Is one way of looking at it. So if you are subtracting these residual profits from these profits shared from the residual profit, you should get a 0. Or ideally, if you add them, you should find 24, 400, which is the same figure that we found on top. So ideally, that's how you deal with the appropriation account. There's nothing much difficult. Just understand that you also have to take into consideration the current account, the interest that is charged on the current account. Usually, the question is always very much clear about that. And then you do all the necessary deductions. All right.